Hello and welcome to episode number 4 of One More Cup of Coffee. And we're going to be joined by Swampy and Stephen Wood very, very shortly. This stand tonight has been absolutely bouncing. Unfortunately, well, there is no unfortunately, is there? Well, there is an unfortunately, but I can't link it to the performance of the fans tonight, which has been absolutely flawless. However, on the pitch, what do we say, Stephen, really?
Well, I've just said, I was saying during the game, which Carl didn't overly agree with me there, that I thought it was a lesson in taking your chances. First half, we probably should have gone in a couple of goals up. Without clear chances, but there were decent chances. Keepers made a couple of good saves. Andy Welsh probably will say himself, he probably should have done better in a couple of good positions where he went for a shot instead of pulling it back. Mm-hmm. They get a goal right on half time. Oh. The second half, it's a sucker punch 3 times. And if you're going to give Gavin Hallett a run at you, you're going to get trouble. It's simple as that.
Well,
I have to say, I thought
looking for my team sheet. Sorry,
Frickley. It's I don't know where your team sheet is, mate. Unfortunately, Frickley. I thought deserved the draw at half time. I thought they had some good chances just as well as we did.
Well, they had a great opportunity in the opening 15 minutes with Hallett to again, it's poor defending, and it was a good head on actually by South, and Hallett then went beyond Carnell, and the thing that he lacked was really any pace in the ball, allowed Lynch to come across. But from that moment in the first 45 minutes, I think FC United then didn't necessarily dominate, but they were the better of the two teams because they stopped playing it through the middle and started getting out wide, and it resulted in some
Don't you
chances.
think, though, towards the end of that first half, our defending just suddenly dropped off a cliff completely, and they started to get to the byline more?
Well, I mean, we scored the goal, and it was a very good goal, to be honest. It was a great corner, came in, great near post header. It was something that was very similar last night that Matty Warburton scored for Curzon Ashton. But the goal that we conceded was poor again. I mean, I think tonight we fundamentally defended atrociously for large parts of the game.
The goal, though, Carl's just said there, the first goal, it's their free kick on the half. When they try and take it quickly, we end up blocking the ball.
That's where Daniel's got put.
Yeah, there's a yellow card. They then get all their men forward and they scored. You know, if they'd let them take the free kick quickly, it probably would have died. You can't say that. It probably would have died out.
Maybe not. But again, you know, it was well taken by Alex.
It took a deflection, but it was a good. But again, if you're going to stand on the edge of the box and let a player of Gavin Hallett's quality have a free shot, which is exactly what it was, you're asking for trouble.
That was the problem. I mean,
forget the deflection. You're asking for trouble straight away.
Tonight, you know, South, Hallett and Payne, the 9, 10 and 11 ran our defence large parts of the game absolutely ragged.
Second half on the break, certainly.
I was going to ask you about the second half defending. Well, the pair of you. At times, we might as well have not been there defending because they just walked through with ease.
Doesn't necessarily go that strongly, but
think about the times that
the 3 goals have come from our corners or our attacking positions, and they've just broke down. I mean,
yeah, what they've done.
Think of their number 7. Was it the number 7, number 4? It was number 4, wasn't it? Who literally ran 3/4 of the pitch unchallenged.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he did.
And he wasn't the quickest of players, to be fair.
No, I mean, it was a good run, but
Luke
Horney. Don't shout too loudly. He's on the pitch, he might and bash you up.
Bash you up, eh? Luke Horney. It was a great one. I mean, the thing is, we undid ourselves, and that's down to poor defending, and also you're leaving not enough defenders back. You're not chasing the game initially. I mean, we could have.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, we could have. That actually, their third resulted in a shot from FC United's Welsh, who the goalkeeper saved. Then they had the corner came in, and then all of a sudden, bang, gone, goal.
Down there and
the player of the game, though, the player of the game on that pitch tonight didn't score any goals. And for me, you know, Brad Riley was absolutely outstanding. I mean, he ran that game in the middle of the park. He's not the biggest of players, but what summed him up was he played a ball on the right-hand side, 35 yards onto here, and then ran the length of the pitch, and then got on to the end of it, and he nearly scored himself. That showed what he was capable of tonight. FC United really second half. There may have been 3 goals on the break, but the 3 goals on the break with quality, with purpose, and they finished
absolutely,
them.
Yeah.
And we were second best.
2 points. Carl's again just said in the interview there is that we were outworked. The work of Frickley was greater than ours. And that's something that
they had more desire. They wanted it more.
I'm never sure about that, but you can put out both of them hand in hand. Of course you can. And the other thing is more of a comment, I think, than anything else. And I sort of agree with the atmosphere like it is tonight. Some of those new lads, those 2 defenders and Andy Welsh, this is their welcome to FC. If they didn't believe that every game was a cup final for us, they found out the hard way tonight.
Well, I'm confused with that because Andy Welsh has played league football. I don't care. Listen, there was a bigger crowd at home. On the noise, it might not be as noisy. I don't know, but Andy Welsh has played league football. He's got over 300.
You're comparing apples to apples there. You're comparing a lower division side on Sunday with not the work rate and work ethic of a team who, in the league they're going to have to get used to coming. And you're right what you say about him playing, but that's irrelevant. Though. We're talking about where he is now, and he's FC United.
To be honest, I think let's not get distracted about Andy Welsh because Andy Welsh didn't have a particularly bad game. He didn't have a particularly good game, but neither did anyone.
No, that's what I'm saying. But I mean, I don't think you can use the introduction of this is the introduction. They're not played in a game like this because they've played in far.
He said this is welcome to FC United. This is the first time they've played in FC United with an atmosphere like that, with a team that's working like that.
I think.
Well, who's the players he's talking about? Well, I mean, obviously Welsh.
Dashworth.
Well, hold on a second. They've been playing for the.
I'm
not saying, Steve. I'm not cutting you down by that. I'm just saying these players have played. This is 8 games in, and 2 of them players have played 3 or 4 games.
Quite possible.
I think we've explored this game to death. It's one of those things that a lot of FC fans will only remember for the atmosphere, which once again I have to say was the only highlight of tonight. It was superb. Moving on, this start, I know we've said about the pressure put on the team from external forces, external pundits, that kind of thing.
About how Vader about how we're masters are waiting for us.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is we're favourites for this league in most quarters, and we've started the league campaign, let's say sluggish, okay, where the only team who's managed to take a point from us is up at the top end of the table, Buxton. Everyone else is in the lower half of the table, who we played against this season. Where are we going?
Well, it's still.
Or does it not matter?
No, listen, it's very, very early days. You wouldn't want to say or pin yourself on tonight's performance because tonight has been a poor performance all round. So therefore, you go right. Okay, you can sign it to the history, but the history dustbin, so to speak. You have a delete button, don't you, on your computer where you can put it into what they call trash. Get in there, and then what you do is sometimes you can take the trash out, can't you, and see what it was. But I think then you go back to it and delete the trash. Ding! Tonight's game's over with.
I think I know what he means. Yeah, no, he's right. You're right, though. You're absolutely right. No, sometimes you've got to put a game.
They've got to work
bed and say, forget it, and it's gone.
They've got to go.
However, what we don't want to do is have to say that 2, 3, 4 times.
No, certainly.
You know what I mean. Tonight can be put down to that.
No, you're right. The other thing is that they go into training on Thursday now, and they work on it. They've got to work on the defensive. The way the defence works. The one thing, I mean, we certainly saw in the first 45 minutes was that the defence themselves weren't playing long balls, but Carnell seemed to be the player that was hitting the ball very long all the way through.
Yeah, didn't
and that seemed to be the story of FC's performance until they started putting it out wide. Look, we know a game like tonight, Frickley is one of those places. It's the first time we've been defeated here in 13 league occasions, apart from the cup. So they've deserved it. FC will have their heads down. It's now the manner of actually how they can pull themselves out of a performance like that against Grantham on Saturday. And they've got the capability, got the quality in the squad. I think we just need to work on 2 or 3 things, and it's there for all to see that. I've been watching the game tonight. Carl doesn't need us on this programme FCUM. Hello, Carl, if you are watching. Who's dissecting it because he knows him and Daz and Brownie know exactly what's what there. They won't be happy with certain aspects of the game. I think what we didn't help tonight really for me is there was not really a lot of help and support for Scott Cheetham because there was a lot going down that right hand side and he wasn't afforded the support that really a young player of his stature should do.
Correct,
and that was a bit disappointing because he did again.
Because you look at those two goals and the second and third goals have both come down his side.
Exactly, and it's not necessarily his fault. But there's no one else helping.
We actually discussed this at half time. Scott Cheetham, when he played Matlock, we said he did the basics right. He didn't do any overlapping. Tonight he tried to do overlapping, and I said one of the only thing we could really say was positive about tonight is that Scott Cheetham looked more left-backish than he's ever done.
But he ended up in the centre midfield playing. That's where his actual role is, and he ended up playing there.
One thing we picked up on was the fact that he didn't have any support when he was doing those overlaps. When he went on the overlap, no one was covering for him at all.
Well, that was, and it is interesting because, as I say, let's go back to last night's game, watching a team that are now top of the division in Curzon who came up, and every time a player did something like last night, someone just dropped back into a position to make sure that if it didn't work, there was no problem.
You saw that before the game, when we were talking before the game, didn't you?
And that's what we had the problem tonight. Scott was trying to get on, he was trying to, create things, and when the ball was undone, the team were undone because there was no one there to support and help him.
Radio listeners, goodbye. Gonna Raise Hell is up next. Thanks for listening to FC Live. Back to this delightful conversation now about it on One More Cup of Coffee. Come on.
It's the last cup of coffee.
Oh yes, we should say the spillage incident which wrecked a laptop. Just to say to that fan, no hard feelings.
No, because and we don't want to make him sound any worse than it is for him. But the laptop is back on, but we're not quite sure if it's ever going to work again.
That's like some of our defenders. Oh, say that.
Yeah. Well,
joke.
Well, listen, it's difficult. I know at this early stage of the season, there's some young players or new players that have come into the team. I'll keep my powder dry at this moment. I think there's a couple of them at this moment in time. I don't think are up to it yet. They possibly have the capabilities of going forward and becoming regulars within the FC team. But I think a couple of injuries, and if those people have been fit tonight, may have shown a slightly different team. But again, it's a squad game. They're bringing them in.
We've always said that.
Carl's got confidence in a lot of the players as the management team. Because let's not forget, it's Carl, Darren, and Dave Brown. They're a collective.
They're
Carl makes the ultimate decision, but they sit down, they chew the cud, and they'll be looking at that tonight. I mean, there's no TV footage unless Frickley provide it. Because it is a game to dissect. Really, from a defensive perspective, as someone like Dave Brown will want to dissect that game from a defensive.
Forward, really.
Well, there wasn't a great deal going up top. It just didn't work for them in large parts of the game today, and there wasn't the quality.
I've got a cob on. Don't you think though, towards the end when we were huffing and puffing, that, and I said to you in commentary, are Frickley really that good at defending?
Well, no, they're not. But
and that's. I'm pointing it back to the attackers now.
The problem with that was we made them look good because the quality of the balls into the box and the wings was not good enough. The corners, I think the corner we scored from was the first decent one. I mean, the amount of corners,
12.
The amount of corners that
12 corners.
The amount of corners that went into the 6-yard box, especially in the first half. That were 3 headers away. There was nobody in the 6-yard box, and I was still behind the dugout.
And the downside really
Brownie
from there,
was screaming at people to get forward.
Every time they had a corner, they got ahead
many
of it.
They
won the ball. It was. I mean, let's not forget in that first 45. Second half, there was a couple of balls cleared off the line as well. The likes of
off the corners,
the corner side,
two in the sort of
and headed
corner,
away. I mean, that's what you're there to do: defend the ball. But the downside is you've got a problem there because there was no one defending it. There was no one winning that first header in. But
the floor manager seems to be wrapping up
sign.
Well, it looked like you were suing somebody there.
Just to say, we hope you've enjoyed this episode of One More Cup of Coffee.
It's very atmospheric.
Even if the content,
it looks really good, doesn't it?
Even if the content isn't of your particular taste, we hope we've made it as entertaining as possible. This lens flare thing going on here, I think, is very Star Trek. Look at that. Ooh, Vija. Right,
it's not Star Trek. It's Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
That works too. Anyway, we'll be back on FC Live on Saturday, where we hopefully will be bringing you a win against Grantham Town.
We have to beat Thatcher's boys, don't we?
We do. Thank you to Stephen Wood.
My pleasure. Always a pleasure, never a chore.
Otherwise known as Woodso.
Well, if you say so, use it.
They new socks. Anyway,
I had to pull you up on something about. You said about coming out of your earlier on, coming out of your what was it? You said people have just coming out of their backs of gardens or
man caves.
Yeah, well, we have a large proportion of ladies that listen to the show. I think it was a little bit sexist of you.
No,
to be honest, that's what I'm saying.
I said the men.
You never mentioned ladies.
I said the men were upstairs ironing.
You know, well,
That's not sexist.
They're in man caves.
That's
sorry, ladies.
Anyway,
sorry,
thank
ladies,
you,
and
Stephen.
anybody else that wasn't in a man cave.
And as for you,
Me?
No, I'm just pointing to the viewer.
Point to the viewer.
We'll see you Saturday.
Ooh, live long and prosper, children. Live long and prosper.
Come on.
I'm trying, Ben. I'm trying.
Oh, that's AT Writers, isn't it? There we go. Goodbye.
From Frickley.